Okay, now on to Enneagram Type 4. I'll show you where it is. Right here at the bottom. 2, 3, and 4 are the emotional triad. 2, all the emotional energy goes out. 3, kind of dissociated from the emotional world. 4 holds all the emotions in. All the emotions go in. So 4s feel whatever is going on out here in here. That can be good. That can be not so good. So my favorite analogy for 4 is if you know what a tuning fork is, you'll understand this. If you don't, Google tuning fork and you'll see what they look like. But if you hold a tuning fork in this hand and a tuning fork in this hand, and you hit this tuning fork so it starts to vibrate, this one will start to vibrate too. That's a 4. 4s are vibrating in response to whatever emotional energy is present, which has gives them a powerful capacity for compassion and an equally powerful capacity for self-absorption, because they think everything that's happening out there is actually happening in here. It's very confusing, because I'll say we, because I am a 4. We think what's happening is happening in here, so this is all about me. Sometimes it is. I call 4 the poet, because when you can feel certain aspects of reality as something that's happening within yourself, you can then express them in a way that could possibly be universally relatable or somewhat relatable to some people. So there's a poetic quality to the way 4s process reality. I didn't mention the avoidance for 3, but the avoidance for 3 is failure. It's very important for 3s to be seen as successful. Nobody likes to fail, but for 3s, it's particularly painful. The avoidance for 4 is called ordinariness. So there are many people in the world that I just want an ordinary life. I want a home, I want a family, I want a job, I want whatever everybody wants. I just want my life to be ordinary. Not 4s. That's a death sentence to 4s. Do not want to be ordinary. And the idealization of 1 is I am right, the idealization of 2 is I am needed, the idealization of 3 is I am successful, the idealization of 4 is I am special. I'm smiling because when I get down in the dumps or get upset about something, my husband, who's not a 4, will look at me and go, well, you're really special. And every single time I go, am I? And then we laugh. He's not making fun of me. He's kind of trying to joke me out of what I'm feeling, because, you're really special. It's like, really? That's what gives me the same sense as if I was to say to him, you're right. He's like, am I? I really am, right? So it gives you a sense of strength to be told that. 4s inhabit a world of feeling, not just the feelings that they have within, but the feelings that surround. So when there can be a kind of dialogue between the feelings within and the feelings that are around, again, that is called poetry. So 4s are kind of known for their ability to be creative, whether it is in a recognized creative pursuit like painting or dancing, or in the way they parent, or the way they dress, or the way they conduct a business meeting. There's a creative approach that is kind of embedded. And the creative approach, if I may say, is something like, I wonder what will happen if I do this. Or I'm going to go into this situation and work with the elements and combine them in a way that I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know what the elements are. I don't know how I'm going to combine them, but I am. And something interesting will come from that. That I am a 4, so that's how I describe it. looking from the outside, people might describe it as something like, we don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something weird in there and they're going to come out with whatever they think in a while. But in the meantime, we'll leave them alone. I so just to make this personal for a moment, for my work, I'm a meditation teacher. I started something called the Open Heart Project. It's a community now of almost 20,000 people that get meditation instruction from me. And sometimes I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, you're helping so many people." I'm not making fun of that. That is the whole aim. Uh, but I always think to myself, well, that's not actually why I'm doing it. I want to be helpful, of course, but that's not what motivates me. That's not. I'm not. It's not a gesture of service. It's a gesture of creativity for me. It's like, I think I can make this. I want to try. I want to put it together. I want to build it. I want to make it beautiful. I want to make it interesting. I think I can do it. And from what I understand of the artistic approach, that is how a creative project starts. You start with a lump of clay or a, a chord progression or a vision. And then you go, well, let me see what will happen now. What will happen now if I start working with that? So even though my work is meditation teacher, I've noticed I seem to approach it as a creative pursuit rather than anything else. So self-preservation 4, which is me, is called reckless. So all 4s are compelled by the world of emotion and fearful of being seen at the same time. So when 4s love or are interested in you, they naturally pulse toward you and away. The attention goes toward and then is retracted, toward and then is retracted. It can be quite hurtful and upsetting to others, understandably, but it's because I want to connect, I want to love, I want to feel. I'm too sensitive or afraid of what might happen. If I get hurt in here, that will take over my whole world. I won't be able to handle it. So I'm going to pulse toward and away, toward and away. In the course of ordinary life, that can be quite anything from disturbing to irritating, to frightening for the people who love 4s. However, this particular, anyway, reckless. I'll go back to that in a moment. But 4s want to feel. Self-preservation subtypes are concerned with issues of survival. So self-preservation 4s are noted for their kamikaze-like approach to reality. It's like, I want to feel, nothing's going to work out, no one's going to see how special I am. I'll just move across the world. I'll jump off this cliff. I'll shoot heroin. I've not done any of these things, by the way. I'll just take risks. And when I was young, that was how I did things. Sure, I'll move here. Oh, I'll quit going to school. I'll convert myself to another religion. I'll just do it because I'm trying to find something. And the only way I'm going to be able to find it is if I put my life on the line. Luckily, I grew up and I still have that inclination, but not doing so many reckless things. So that's self-preservation 4. Social 4 is called shame. Like, I want to belong to a group, but I'm never going to be good enough. So there's a view of everything that's important happens in society, community, but I'm too weird and special. I'm never going to be good enough to get in there. Sexual 4, all the 4s look different, very, very different from each other. Self-preservation 4 does not look like a social 4. It'd be hard to say, oh, these are the same kind of people, but they are. Sexual 4 is called hate or competition. And there's a sense of competing with the partner because the focus is on one-to-one relationships. And the sexual 4s, and some of my best friends are sexual 4s, they, unlike the other 2 4s, are not afraid to get angry and get in a fight. That's enlivening in some weird way that I don't understand. But for a sexual 4 is like, my emotions are firing and now something real is happening. When things get weird, Fours go, oh, now something interesting is happening. All the fours. Fours tend to be attracted by or at least unafraid of pain. We think when things become painful, now it's getting real. And in the absence of pain and suffering, conventional, not worth my attention. Once it gets painful, I'm all ears. So in this particular situation of pandemic, fours can be very important allies because we are not afraid of the darkness. I mean, we are, but we have perhaps more of a familiarity with the darkness. So I remember once I wrote somewhere as a friend, Susan Piper, not that great, not so good at, hey, how you doing? Not so good at like, hey, you want to go out and have. I'm just not that good at that. However, if you're being born or dying, call me, because that I can be good at. I can stand with you in the suffering. I can stand with you as the waves just move, because working with the emotional nuance is where I live. That may sound more heroic than it actually is, but fours, if you're a four, you can give a gift to others now of just holding space with them as they may experience a darkness in the world and themselves that they're unaccustomed to. And if you are a four, don't try not to get lost in that darkness, and try not to talk to your friends and your loved ones and do, take a break, watch silly movies, or try to lighten up. Throughout my life, people have said, you need to lighten up. And I've always wanted to say, I need to punch you in the face, because I hate that. So I'm not saying, oh, why are you so serious? I'm saying that at a time like this, we need to be very conscious of how we hold our natural seriousness and our natural intensity, so that we don't burn out. So we can put that seriousness and that intensity and that fearlessness in service, which fours can do in a particular way. So the talking style of four is called lamentation. There's a lament in the voice. How was your Enneagram lecture? It's okay. I learned some things. Didn't quite get what I was looking for, but it was okay. That's me, so I can laugh at that. So fours, I will point out before we go into 5, 4 and 5 down here at the bottom, empty space. 4 and 5 are the most likely to be depressive and to just like, oh, I'm going to fall off the whole Enneagram and into space. So 4s and 5s have a special connection to depressive states. So if you are a 4 or a 5, or you love one or live with one, please be aware that it's the wiring, and we can be there to remind them that there is such a thing still as lightness. There it is right behind me. Okay.